Now we're good.
Okay. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. It is Thursday, April 17th, 2025 at 5:32 p.m. Kicking off the Bridge of the Gods Centennial Celebration Advisory Committee meeting. Carrie Ann, can we please do roll call?
Committee Chair Carrie Clute. Why did I? Sorry. Yeah. Vice Chair Peterson is excused. Committee member Brittany Berge. Here. Community member Crane.
Here. She's walking over from the museum. She's
walking
here.
over. Okay.
I'm here.
Community member Palermo is absent. And then community member Stippen is excused.
As I mentioned to the chair before the meeting started, we have Laurel from the campground host and all around Cascade Locks fantastic community member. Also sits on the tourism board and attended a conference with me on tourism this week and expressed interest in attending this meeting. We don't have anything to vote on today. Just a reminder, she's not a voting member, but as our chair said, the more the merrier. So, hi, Laurel.
Hey. Hi, Laurel. Thanks for joining.
Hey, everyone.
All right. Well, on today's agenda, we've got are there any modifications, additions, or changes to the agenda today? I don't think so. It's pretty straightforward. Any declarations of potential conflicts of interest? Okay, hearing none. Going to the approval of minutes from our advisory committee meeting on March 27th. I guess we do have a vote. So I've had a chance to review them. I'm fine with them. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. All those in favor? Aye.
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 All right. Thanks, guys. The next item is discussions, updates on directives and tasks. I put together a very, very, very rough task list today. It's just very short, not very detailed yet. I did not have the time over the last 2 weeks to work on it as much as I wanted, or at all until today. It's just been crazy at work. So I figured we could maybe use this as a working session to beef up this task list and add more details. So I'd be happy to share my screen if I'm allowed. And we can kind of go through this together. So apologies about my procrastination here. But, oh, my screen share is disabled. So whenever you enable that, Carrie, I know.
You should be ready.
It says disabled.
Bill?
Oh, because you're sharing your screen. It says because you're.
Oh, okay. Stop sharing. Okay, sorry. Okay, got it.
No worries. Now, here we go. Can you guys see my screen? Can you see an Excel file? Am I sharing the wrong thing?
No, you're good. We see that.
Okay. All right. So there's obviously way more tasks than this. I want to divide them out into main categories and then we can add subtasks under them. So the first one that came to mind, and these are in no particular order and I need to add dates, but I'm working with Paul Enquist for the media design, and then getting the initial drawings from Paul, and then 1.2 would be ordering light pole flags, or flags for the light poles, once we have the designs approved. So just this was not very well thought out, obviously, yet. I think we can start adding to it and just making it a lot better as we go. But I just wanted to get something down. So when it comes to the graphic art from Paul, what are some of the tasks that come to mind that are separate tasks that we would need to conquer in order to get the design from him? I think we need to maybe have the port approve the design since they're paying for it. And then once the design is approved, we can then have him set up whatever with the media website that he uses. And then we can start ordering. But does he need a contract from us? I think there's all sorts of questions here that we need answered that could turn into tasks too.
And when Janice makes it to a place where she can weigh in on that, she probably has the most insight.
Yeah, so Paul will do the first draft and then we'll hear from him again. As far as like contracts and stuff goes, we paid the half up front and then he gets the other half when the design is complete. And he said if you wanted a bunch of different like designs and add-ons and stuff, that there was potentially some extra fees that could go on there based on like the complexity of like needing to, reformat the image into different shapes and sizes and types of files based on what's getting printed. But I think all of that'll just be as you're ordering it, he'll let you know what that is. And then I guess the task would be to start talking to Northwest Art Mall about, honestly, getting a hold of them is a whole task in itself because they're terrible at email.
Right.
But that's the vendor that he uses for doing all of the printing on like merch stuff. So if you want like coffee mugs and art prints and posters and
I'm sure we want a little bit of everything to sell during the festival. And Paul did mention that if we do prints, that he'd be happy to sign them too for the festival. So we could like do framed prints and have him sign it for sale at the fest. So.
And then like at the festival itself, are we going to have our own booth where we're selling it, or do you want to invite Northwest Art Mall to be a vendor? There's a possibility there of maybe not having to staff a booth, but.
Right. Let's maybe find out if it's something that they would be interested in. Okay. And then we also want to make sure, I guess this kind of bleeds into marketing. Once we have the image approved, then we'll want to, and I think I'll rearrange all of these numbers. Select dates should be the very first task, obviously. That's the very first thing we did pretty much, besides creating the committee. But yeah, the marketing strategy, like we need to create a marketing strategy, how we want to market this using Paul's artwork. And that would be like, pushing Facebook ads when we want to do those, flyers out at different billboards and stuff. Not billboards, but like community boards, where people post local events and stuff, printing them out and just advertising them around the gorge.
I mean, billboards
Maybe
aren't that expensive if you want to get a billboard.
they're not. Maybe
Not
research.
really. They're much cheaper than I thought they were. The company that does it from around Portland, they've got some starting as low as $5,000.
Oh, 5,000. Well, that's still a big chunk of a budget that I'm not sure how much budget we're putting towards this in this
Right,
year.
but so like if you're getting sponsors and booth fees and stuff, there's going to be
Uh,
money to spend that could be spent on marketing.
Right. Okay. And I think we definitely need to talk about that in an upcoming meeting, like just focus a meeting on marketing strategy. But we probably need to get some sponsors and stuff like that too, to determine like what kind of budget we're looking at as well.
And just for, I mean, you know, my budget still has to go through the commission, but right now I have allotted $25,000 for planning this year.
And that's rolled over. Is that like considering that we haven't spent our full budget from this current fiscal period?
It doesn't quite work like that in governmental accounting. At the end of the fiscal year, everything just kind of washes and then you start back over. So
Gotcha.
to use it or lose it sort of system. So I mean, it certainly came into mind as I built the budget that we didn't tap into it, but there isn't like a way to show it rolled over specifically, at least within this budget. So
Okay.
we added some more to it, and I wanted to give us plenty of room to be able for you guys to hire Jason Wakunis if that's what you decided to do. And you know, I think this year will really tell us what needs to go into the budget for next year, and we're probably going to have to start spending some stuff, right? Because this is in it's September. Is that when this is? I apologize. September
2026. Yeah, September 18th through 20th, I think.
Right. So you guys won't get your money for next year until July, right? So we'll be having to put a lot of money down on things, or right, or potentially a budget adjustment, which may be necessary as well too. It just depends how much of this we put on other people and give them the opportunity to make money, and how much we put on ourselves as a cost. So like Janice's idea of having that vendor be in charge of selling the merchandise, and us being like, cool, we're not trying to make money, we just want a good event. Those are all kinds of things that make it cheaper and cheaper and cheaper for us.
As far as the PCT days person, Jason Wakunis, do we need to get bids from him and others? Like, is this like an open bid thing that we have to do, or can we just say we think he's the best guy for the job?
We would be within procurement. I mean, it depends what his number comes back as, but from what I generally assumed it was going to be, we'll be within procurement laws to select Jason.
Okay. So we basically need a proposal from him. But I think we need to determine the scope first.
Agree.
For what?
This is the party, Jason, you throw it.
Right. Well, I mean, we have the general scope idea, but I think the determination of like who does what particular part of the party do we want Jason to be in charge of, the whole thing, or just like managing the vendors and the sponsors and the,
Well, I think there's a certain amount of room for us to say this is what we want the party to look and feel like with these specific events. And then, I mean, that's really what we're paying Jason for as a promoter, is to be like, okay, this is the best way to pull off this party. And maybe he does bring in vendors, and maybe he does bring in sponsors, and maybe he does do those things.
Right. But like, as far as some of the more menial tasks, like the port is used to doing some of that stuff anyway, and it could be a cost savings to de-scope it from Jason, like ordering porta potties and getting food trucks out here, and setting that area up. And then, Jason would be in charge of like the music and the stage and the vendors and the sponsors, and making sure that there's security.
Certainly possible. Certainly possible.
So I think we need to contact Jason. I know Rob had in the past, but Janice, you say you have a rapport with him. So is that something I can assign to you?
Yeah, that's fine as long as we have kind of the scope built out going into it, so I know what I'm asking for.
Yeah, I think just like I said, maybe get his idea of like, this is what we want. We want, artists and vendors, and like whoever wants to be a vendor there can buy vendor space, whether it's artists or local craftsmen or local businesses that want to have a booth, whatever, like just have it like a big festival vendor style. And then music, beer tent, and then we'll handle the bungee jumping. I don't think he needs to worry about that part because we've already started working directly with Bungee Oregon. So
Yeah,
I
okay.
think
Yeah, I can reach out to him about that.
that would be great.
And I think there's a possibility to bring, and again, just throwing things around here. I think there's a possibility to bring Jason in, and where you said I don't think we need him to work with Bungee because we're working with him. I think there's really a way for Jason to come in and to be the absolute lead on every piece and part of this, the way he is with PCT days, and for him to delegate down, right? So there may be things where he's like, hey, do we have folks that can help me do this? Do they have folks that can help me do that? But as somebody who's overseeing the entire sort of vision that we have, how that ties directly to the bungee jumping and the timing of the bungee jumping and when it correlates with other things, you're gonna want somebody sort of at the point of all that. And whoever that point is, it's not going to be good if it's an entire board of people. Which means that it's either the chair or somebody you guys hire to do so. So there's a lot of this, I think, that we can, if we take the vision to Jason and then say, okay, what do you need to delegate down? Porta potties, for instance, was one you brought up that the port could handle, and we certainly can. But that's also something that Jason has like dialed to the max. Like he knows exactly how many they need, where they need to go, what they're going to cost. Like these are the types of things that he could send us this bill at the end of like, this is what it cost me to throw this party for you guys. And it has hands-off stuff on it and allows the board to focus on some of the things that you guys like to do or are good at, or both. And it doesn't necessarily have to go that way, but I can see this board enjoying this experience a lot more if they get to focus on the stuff that they're good at, and there's someone at the helm that's getting paid to make sure it all correlates. I think Jason's fully capable of that too. I think that we're getting it dialed down to a party here that you go, oh yeah, he knows exactly how to do that. And well, in the art festival, I don't have a whole lot of connections with art. And then that's where Carrie stands up and says, hey, I know this photographer. And Laurel says, I know a few artists. And he's like, cool, could you guys run with that and direct them to me? And then those artists go to them. And it's not you guys having the middleman. It's just out to you guys out there promoting and taking advantage of the network.
Well, and I see like festivals post months ahead of time, calling all artists, vendor applications here, blah, blah, blah.
And we might do real well with, not charging for space, right? Making it, we have a limited amount of space and that we're not charging. There's no way that we come out ahead on this party, no matter what it's going to cost.
Right.
And also there's administrative costs that get stacked into us charging for somebody and chasing down payment and then receiving that payment. And there's a bit of this that it's like we are setting X number of dollars aside, knowing that the benefit of it is going to be all economic development. It's all there's just certain things that we do, and the money never comes back to us, but we made a dent in the mission, and I think this is a mission-driven one. So as much as I appreciate the hey, let's be conservative with our spending, I think this board kind of got the benefit of being like, we don't have to take that into consideration quite as much as how do we make this profitable or less expensive.
Right.
I think you guys get to be sort of visionary here and have some fun. I hope.
Okay, sounds good. So I think we need, Jason Wakunas or whoever we can find on board to run this thing so we can start delegating the tasks or having them delegate the tasks to us. So I don't know how in depth this task list needs to be, because if we're not going to be the ones totally running it, I
Yeah.
can hand off the task list to whoever is going to actually be running it, and then we'll be the ones in the background. So, I think some of this stuff like designing the fest layout, when Paul was here, I walked around with Janice and John Stippen to just kind of point out what my personal vision was to where we would put the stage and where and the vendors would go, and maybe building a little platform at the end of the like a portable platform at the end of the Thunder Island for a bungee viewing area. Or something like that. But again, I think that is going to be up to whoever is leading the cause, and we would just work with them and provide our like design layout ideas and let them run with it. So coordinating with Bungee Oregon, I did send them another email this week just to follow up and see if there's anything else they need. I know they're probably prepping for their upcoming season to start. So I did let them know that drawings of what they are intending to do as a platform aren't actually necessary, and that we should be good to go with, as long as they're not making any modifications to the bridge itself, which I don't think they intend on doing. So I don't know. I mean, we obviously have time. They may have a ticket vendor that they already use themselves, so I'm going to let them set that up. I just want to make sure that, we're all on the same page about how they're selling tickets, how many tickets they're selling, and whatever, to ensure fairness across the board. Like, do a big marketing thing, like tickets go on sale on X day or whatever, and reserve your time now. I thought about the whole first come, first serve thing, and that seems like it could get really chaotic really quickly. So I think selling them in advanced time slots is probably the cleaner way to go. But I'll talk to them about that once I hear back from them.
And they may already have scheduling software, right? For Centennial. So if that's something that they can we click and we go right over to their scheduling software, and you drop down Bridge of the Gods versus Crooked River Bridge or whatever.
Right.
They can manage all that. That would be great.
And then we just send a link out of where that software is when the ticket sales go live, and include it in our marketing, like Facebook marketing and stuff like that.
Can I ask some questions about the bungee jumping, just as someone who worked on the bridge?
Yeah, absolutely.
How are you handling the logistics of having bungee jumpers on the bridge at the same time as traffic?
Single lane closures.
Okay. Is it going on during the festival?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have heightened traffic on the bridge for festival.
Probably, yes.
Yeah, I'm anticipating just problems, just the kind of problems that we get at the bridge. We can handle it. Just might want to work with Parker to prep for that in terms of staffing.
Yeah, he's aware, and I think we're gonna have have to hire some traffic directors, to let traffic through each way, just to make sure that the traffic is flowing.
Okay, cool.
So that is definitely part of the consideration. It is going to be a concern having some of the traffic get backed up, but hopefully we can help it go through fairly smoothly.
It's a Saturday, Sunday, correct?
I thought it was going to be Friday afternoon, Saturday, Sunday. The 18th is
Is it all three? Okay.
Let's see, September 2026. Yeah, Friday through Sunday. So the main, like, I think the opening ceremony and stuff would be Friday afternoon. Um, lots of people really can't, lots of people work on Fridays. So I don't know. Maybe we do it just Saturday and Sunday, but I think we initially designated the dates as the 18th through the 20th. Open to your guys' input on that for sure. But
I think it would be
maybe,
fine. Sorry.
oh, go ahead.
I think it'd be fine to do like some activities on Friday, like Friday evening, but like make Saturday the big blowout day. Like that's where the welcoming kind of ceremonies and stuff would be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Kinda
like a kickoff party Friday night could be fun.
like how Thunder Island does their pre-funk
Yeah.
Mhm.
before actual PCT days start.
Yeah, something like that. Um,
Are we going to be, are we going to be allowing or wanting camping on Thunder Island?
um, do
I
we
don't
think it would be
think so.
necessary?
Okay.
Kind of late in the year. I mean, it's not bad, but we have no guarantee that we're going to get sun. That's for sure.
Well, and there's also like if you're going to have people out there on an observation deck watching people bungee jump, there's the whole security risk of people's stuff being out there or blowing away and hitting someone.
Mm-hmm.
If we go with Jason, often what we worked out is he has vendors, sponsors. They'll take the campground because having regular campers in when I have a big event like that, they get really irritated at the traffic often. Um, and that's something we can provide for him. I mean, once we work with him, to let him know that
Yeah.
same thing we do for PCT days, we can do for this
Like
event.
black out the campground for
We
him.
do.
Nice.
And then they can make advance reservations. They just have to call me and I black it out just for that event, for vendors, for volunteers, for staff people, whoever needs them.
I think we need to look at parking considerations too. That's something Jason would probably take on as well, but I know we manage parking for all the other events by people just kind of crowding into the port and the street. But if it becomes overflow, perhaps we look at using our business park, like the disc golf course as overflow parking with a bus a shuttle bus that we can hire for the weekend.
During PCT days, we also use the school field across the road,
Yeah.
and people go in and out. It's really close, and
That's like arranged with the school.
Yes.
Okay, that could work too.
But something to consider that this would be during the school year. So probably, I mean, we could probably still utilize it Saturday and Sunday, but Friday, like the kids would still be in school.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't be till Friday evening.
True.
So
True.
school should be out.
And the bulk of the parking is probably going to happen on Saturday and Sunday anyway.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yep. All right. What else? I think until we get Jason on a call and really get running with it, I don't know how much more we can really nail down. So I want to get him on one more call now that we've determined what our overall scope and vision is for this festival. Pick his brain about it and then get him to draft up kind of a proposal for us to how much it will cost to do this. We'll give him, I guess, we don't necessarily have to give him a budget of what we have yet because we don't know what our budget is for next year. And that's probably where the bulk of the money will be spent. So, but I also don't want to make this too crazy. So if we can get some sponsors to share that burden, that will be really good.
You know, and there really is a way for us to hand this over to Jason and say, Jason, you make the money on this, right? Like you find the sponsors, you find the vendors, like and that really might be the upside for him, and maybe even a way that he creates another event out here. But sometimes what you have to sort of do is, when to get these events off the ground, is sort of say, all right, here's the location, tell us what your idea is, and we'll keep it as cheap as possible while you build this up into an event. That's how he got to be as big as he is. So there's, you know, a similar line in thinking here, that if we and the only difference here is we're saying what we want the event to be, right? We're saying we want it to be bridge focused, art focused, food focused, music focused, and we're going to have bungee jumping, which ties it all together.
And a beer tent.
I think that's something that he can probably wrap his brain around and go, okay, I can figure out a way to monetize this for myself, which, okay, good for him, and also create a decent event. And maybe it's an event that repeats, right? Maybe Bridge of the Gods Day becomes an event because we always tie bungee jumping to it, and it is always an art, music, whatever festival. So
well, and that could be fun. And I'm sure Bungee Oregon wouldn't be opposed to being able to reuse the equipment that they're buying for this like one weekend.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know, for when we've got some time to promote this, but the time of year it is, we're celebrating 100 years of a bridge being built. Like, that's going to be exciting to some people, but it might, you know, for this to be a epic level size party, it takes a few years for that to catch on and for people to hear about that, you know, they were doing. I think bungee jumping is definitely going to bring a certain group out here.
Right.
I don't know how much an art festival and a music festival will, coming right out of summer. Everybody loves those things, but I don't know that it's this huge draw where they just start funneling into our city. It takes a little bit of time for that to get a following, or where people know what the expectation is. So I think we'll do a great job. I think we'll have a great party, but I don't know that it's going to be people flooding in from. I think they got 25,000 people at the Hood River one, right? So
that's a pretty big amount for Hood River.
Hood River. Okay.
So
I mean,
we got 25,000 people. You're right. That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
can I interrupt for a second? So Travel Oregon developed a new tourism product launch, whether it's like an event or a new company that's coming to your town, and it's a checklist of like how to proceed with launching. I will find that in my office and forward it to you all.
okay.
I wanted to mention that I had talked with Stephanie during the conference, who's from Travel Oregon, and she asked me to go talk to the woman and make sure that we put the Centennial on their calendar now so that they can plan for it, include us in their as they move forward, that they know the Centennial is happening here and that we're doing something. So I can introduce you, whoever ends up taking over, or whoever from the committee wants to work with her directly on the marketing plan. We're set up for that already. It's already in their calendar for 2026. I added it, and I think I gave them Jeremiah's name as the contact.
So you already added it.
Stephanie made me add it because she was so excited about the fact that we're having it. So everyone, I talked about it a lot. Everyone was really excited.
That's amazing. I added that to the task list as a completed task because that is great. And I think it's something we need to track. And so,
and then I also wanted to mention, Jeremiah knows about it. There's a lot of people in town right now that know about it, but James and I are starting a production company in town, and our very first big production is going to be a melodrama that gets performed in Marine Park 3 times a day, 2 and 4 and 6 on Saturday and Sunday, starting I think June 13th and running to the weekend before PCT days. And our first melodrama is about, it's called A Perilous Crossing, the grim fairy tale behind the origins of the Bridge of the Gods. So I talked to different people because the characters are named after townspeople, current townspeople. I have to get their permission. It's rollicking good fun. It's free of charge. And so we're doing it in honor of the Centennial. And we're also going to be available. We could bring back our actors if you wanted them during the festival. If you want us to perform during the festival, we just need to know ahead of time.
So, and just to clarify on that, it is making good momentum and has lots of support and backing on it. It has not been in front of the commission yet, so that's something that still needs to happen. So
yeah, we won't be able to do the script till we get permission.
Right. So before we say this is happening, I want to make sure that the commission has a chance to weigh on it. I know that I know Albert's heard about it because there's things that are named after him and et cetera, but it's still a project that's rolling out, but it's an exciting one. And I'm stoked about it.
Yeah.
Sounds cool. Well, I think the next step is to schedule our next meeting and see if Jason is able to join for our next meeting. Lay out all of our ideas and scope to him, now that it's narrowed down quite a bit, and see what his ideas are. Let him have a month to,
I think really what we could ask him to come back with, I was hoping we could present it to him, but I think we probably need to get moving. But if we could give him what sort of our general ideas are and how we sort of see this going and the different things that we like, one of the first things he can bring back to us is basically a program or an agenda of from Friday, it kicks off at this time and there's this happens. And on Saturday, it kicks off at this time, this happens. Once we have that 3 days and sort of a program that's lined up, it starts to become very clear which things are like, oh, well, that's simple. That can be handled here. It can be handled there. This is the heavy lift, or this is the piece we need to focus on. So I think that's one of the very first things we can send them away is say, these are all ideas for a party. Bring us back what a schedule of events would look like for those 3 days. And then we can tinker with it if we need to.
And this is all assuming he's still interested.
Yeah, and with Janice, when you meet with him, let me talk with him too.
Will do.
Cool.
Yeah, I trust you guys have what we want nailed down pretty good. So obviously we'll still give a lot of leeway and freedom to how it's executed because we're not the professionals for party planning. So, but I was thinking like when I was walking around with Janice and John, I was like, it would be really cool to have the stage over here, like over by the edge of the lawn, over by the parking lot near the walking bridge. Because that way the Bridge of the Gods is in the background. So when we have people doing commencement speeches or whatever kind of welcoming, like they're standing in front with the bridge behind them. And then when bands are playing, the bridge is behind them. So I don't know if we have enough power and electricity to support a stage over there, but that was, I think, one of the forefront design layout ideas. I think that's important because we're celebrating the bridge. We should at least have a viewpoint of the bridge at all times from the main stage. So that was just one of the many different ideas, but that was really the only one that I really care about is just making sure that the bridge is like they're framed. Anyway, so next meeting, so you guys will talk to Jason before the next meeting. We always do them on Thursdays, so let's take a look at the calendar. The next one a month from now would be May 15th. Is everybody available during that time? We could also do May 22nd. Brittany, Janice, you good with those days?
15th works for us.
Either one of those seem fine, actually.
Okay. Yeah, I can do either.
Let's go for the 15th. I think getting Jason on a call sooner than later is good. I'll leave it to Jeremiah and Janice to schedule a pre-call with him before getting him on the meeting. And then hopefully if you guys talk to him like within the next week, that'll give him a few weeks to kind of lay out a preliminary idea for us to present at the May 15th meeting and see if that works for him.
Sounds good.
So cool.
Awesome.
Well, I think that's everything that I wanted to discuss on the agenda. Is there anything else that anybody else wants to go back on?
I just wanted to share that we were awarded the grant to do the exhibit down at the state capitol.
Nice job, Dave.
Awesome. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
So we'll have a brand new museum exhibit all about the bridge. It'll be at the Capitol first, and then it'll come to us. And it also includes an online exhibit.
Super
Very
cool.
One thing we talked about at the last meeting that we didn't talk about at this meeting, I wanted to just touch base after looking at the meeting minutes from last week, was the mural, and how we wanted to approach that. Like, we were going to ask the city if they wanted to either redo the old mural or do a new one. And then last week's meeting, or not last week's, last month's meeting, Jeremiah, I don't think you were on the last meeting, were you? You were.
I may not have been.
But John had brought up a good idea that potentially we get some proposals from local artists, mural artists, and then let the community vote on what mural goes up there. Something like that, but we would probably have to explore grants for it too and get, I don't know how much it would cost. So we
Sure.
have to do some more exploring on that. But instead of giving the community an option to redo the old one or do a new one, I would say do the old one as an option alongside the option of like A, B, C, and D local artist murals. And so those would be the choices.
Okay. That will likely require a little bit of money up front, right? To each one of those artists to give some sort of rendition of what they're proposing to do.
Right.
But doable, certainly doable.
Might be a good idea to tie in Crow Shadow Institute up at Umatilla. To ask them maybe to submit a proposal for a mural as well, because their artists are tribal. They represent river tribes, which is really big for us. So that might be, I would certainly ask them to submit a proposal for a mural idea at the very least.
Absolutely. Yeah. This was just an idea that was floated at the last meeting. So there's literally no details or steps taken yet. But I think it's a pretty cool idea, and if it's something that could be executed to unveil at the Bridge to God's party, that would be pretty cool.
Yep.
And if it doesn't coincide, no big deal. At least, it would happen hopefully for the actual 100-year anniversary year. So I think do you have connections at the Umatilla? Do you think you could reach out to them and see if that would be something they'd be interested in?
Yeah, I can. I'm meeting.
And
I
how much it
actually am
would
reaching out.
cost.
Yeah, there's lots of grant money available for a project like that for them to do, and they have workshops, but they also do work with at-risk youth to get them into doing arts. And this would be the kind of thing where they might have a recognized artist like James Lavador or even Lillian Pitt work with them to direct them in doing a mural on site. So they might have I'll talk to them. I think they might be really well set up for it, and the representation would be really great.
If you reach out to the Umatilla, it is part of the Umatilla tribe.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you reach out to any of the tribes, keep me CC'd on any of those communications. We have complex relationships with all of the tribes.
Okay, I have a personal relationship with someone pretty high up on the board. So
no, that's great. It's just we have some pretty complicated relationships and projects that are already sort of in place with them, and I just want to make sure that I'm looped in on everything we're talking with back and forth.
Yeah, I'll talk to you about it.
Cool.
Yeah, and maybe we don't get proposals unless it's like maybe we just keep it tribal. Like we want to make sure that the tribes are the ones that are benefiting from this only, and not opening it up to like every mural artist out there. I don't know. I'm open to whatever idea. So
We could keep it open. I think that's best for now. Because I don't know
okay.
really what their response is going to be either.
Right.
I think that we probably should keep it focused on the mural we're replacing, right, is telling the legend of the bridge. I think that if we remove that as the concept or the focal point, we're gonna set ourselves up for some pushback on that.
Right. We can keep that as the
I
theme.
think we want it to continue to be about the original legend.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever does that, I think is up for debate. I think obviously a native artist.
We also have lots of other places to put murals. We could put one on the side of the post office building. We could put one. We have lots of places to put murals, so we don't have to just choose one.
If we get a lot of grant money to do a lot of murals, then cool. But
Sure.
but specifically this one is on the bridge, so I think the theme to keep it tied to the legend of the bridge is really pretty
Agreed.
key there.
Yeah.
Great.
So cool. Well, let us know what you hear from them when you
Well,
talk to Jeremiah and them, and then maybe once if we hear that they're interested, then we have to kind of put together a strategy of how we want to get other artists to do inputs. Like we're willing to pay, $500 each for a submission of artwork or something, but I don't know, like that could leave it open to like some really crazy entries. Like here's my stick figures, give me $500. um, I don't know. Or mural artists just put the time in on their own dime to submit something with the hopes that they win the actual job at the end, and that's their motivation to do it, is that I could get this big high paying giant mural out of it.
And if nothing else, we could exhibit the proposals that have come in, the other things, so that their name would be up, what they were going to do. We can put that up as like, these are the other cool ideas we got that we weren't able to do.
Right. Well, and then let the community vote on which idea they like the best. Like that. Cool. All right. Well, we'll revisit that at the next meeting. Hopefully we can come up with a good strategy at that point. I'll put a little more thought into it and some research to see how other mural projects have come to fruition. And we can go from there.
Probably too late for this, but it would be so cool to get Wall Dogs to come in and do it.
Who?
Wall Dogs is an artisan collective that goes around the country, and they do like mural projects where they take over a city and then just do a ton of murals. They did the Dalles in 2022, so they probably aren't ready to come back to the Northwest, but
that's who it was that did that. I didn't know. I thought it was just a bunch of local mural artists. I was like, I didn't know we had so many.
Oh no. No, they were from all over.
That's interesting. That's cool. Who would be able to research grants for something like this to see if we can get a grant? Because I don't know that this is something the port can fully fund on our own either.
I mean, it would likely be, that's probably something that we can take a look at. We're constantly in the grant world looking for grants. Genevieve's an artist, so we can certainly be looking for that. Obviously, Janice, just by the nature of her work, finds herself looking at grants that don't necessarily fit her but may fit us. So I think that's something we can all be on the lookout for.
Also, ask my sister as Main Street. She gets a lot of grant announcements through Main Street. So there might be something that comes up there.
Awesome. I can send Denise an email about that to see if we can keep her on the lookout. And then Jeremiah, you'll talk to Genevieve, and then Janice, you're already on. So just, whatever you find, send over to Jeremiah for consideration, I guess. That might be worth applying for. Because I think until we actually have a grant to move forward, like we probably shouldn't be working on artist proposals or anything like that. Like, let's get the
No.
funding first and not put the cart before the horse.
I think it would be okay to get a ballpark of what it would cost from a couple of artists, just so that you know how much you're asking for.
Yeah.
Like,
I
don't ask
agree.
them
I
to do
think
any
that-
like real work of like, drafting something, but a ballpark or a quote of what it would cost to do that would be a
Jeremiah,
reasonable ask.
does Dave McCurry have measurements of that section of that area easily attainable?
Yeah, probably.
And we can provide that to some local artists, and Laurel, you can bring it to your people
Right.
at Umatilla, but say, it's like 50 feet high by 30 feet wide or whatever, whatever that may be. And what would an estimate be to cover that so we can apply for grants and whatever?
Jeremiah, I
are
have
you-
it.
Might also be a good idea to ask the city how much they paid for it the first time.
Carrington has that, I think.
And is the mural that part of the bridge, is it on our land or does it go into ODOT? Who would
That's,
we-
go ahead.
Oh,
That's a state park there where it sits in. So we would have to get permission from the state to set up in there, but it's our bridge, so we can paint on it.
just a permit to set it up and have people in there working. Okay.
Just an email.
Okay.
Cool. So I think we have a couple actionable tasks before the next meeting to get bridge measurements, request, keep a lookout for grants, request not proposals, but just rough estimates, ROMs from local artists or mural artists, don't necessarily have to be local, to paint whatever size, once we determine that size. And then for the actual bridge party is to just talk to Jason, get him to put together a preliminary idea, and then present to us on our next meeting on May 15th.
Very
Sounds
cool.
great.
All right. I just wanted to summarize, make sure I wasn't really missing any tasks that we're working. But it sounds good. Does anybody have any other go backs? All right. Well, I appreciate everybody joining. I think we are good to adjourn. Thanks,
Thanks,
everyone.
everyone. Talk to you soon.
Have a
Talk
good
to you
one.
soon.
Bye.
Let me 10.